Well, joining me back now on rockposer.com is a gentleman who was on the show, it must be just over 2 years ago, because 2 years ago I believe it was today, I was actually watching this gentleman perform on the Monsters of Rock cruise. That gentleman is Mr. Robb Reid, bass player for the fantastic Babylon AD. Welcome back.
Thank you, Dan. It's good to be back. I actually watched that interview the other day again. Cool. The one from Monsters of Rock. It was an awesome time.
That, I'll tell you, do you know what? It doesn't seem 2 years ago.
It really doesn't. It's a blink of an eye for me.
I mean, that was a complete blast for us. I mean, it was, anyone who's never done the Monster Rock cruise and you can beg, borrow or steal the money, I highly suggest you go and do one, because it's just, not just because of seeing the bands that you love, but just the whole experience and meeting new friends and old friends and everything else in between.
One of the things, everything you said is absolutely true. And some of the takeaways that I get from the MORC experience is that, there's the total fan immersion absolutely for artist and fan. But, what I've noticed, and I think you'll agree, it truly has become a family of like-minded people that now these relationships, I see it on Facebook and social media, their relationships have blossomed out of Monsters of Rock into like real, friendships and even, love relationships. So it's really turned into a great phenomenon, and I agree. If you can stow away on one of those things, you better do it.
Well, it's funny, the whole friendship thing, because one of the guys I met on the cruise, I got to know through the first internet radio station I ever worked with. It was an American station, and I've known Kev for hell's teeth, must be about 12 years, and he's actually one of the guys operating the spotlight in the main hall, and it's the first time we actually physically met, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I've met so many people, and what's funny is that, I just met somebody the other day who I didn't know knew a bunch of friends of mine from Monsters of Rock, and it's just, it really is a wonderful, small, but getting bigger, awesome community of people. I really, I can't say enough about it. Cheers to Larry Moran and everybody there. They are, awesome people. And for the bands, too, they really, it's an awesome experience for us as well. We love them. We've been on 2 of them now and hope to be on more. Absolutely.
Well, this whole, what I like to call the rock family, funny is having a discussion with somebody at work, it was, end of last week it was, in fact, and saying about how through not just Monster Rock cruise, but also some of the regular festivals, etc., either here or in the States or even somewhere like Sweden Rock, what have you, you get to know people, and it's like you meet up every year, and it's this community a lot of people just don't understand, or if they're not into rock music, they just don't get the fact that everyone is just friends with everybody. Yeah, but you know what, I think, Dan, I've seen it happen where, you get somebody who it's their first time out and they get hooked. Oh,
they
God.
Get hooked immediately,
My wife's nagging me to go next year. I said, yeah, okay, well, if you find the funds, we'll go.
Absolutely, man, absolutely.
Well, of course, I don't have to travel so far, but you do this year, because Babylon AD are heading over to this side of the pond for the Hair Metal Heaven festival in Hull, and you're playing on August the 25th. And I tell you what, it's a fantastic lineup, and I can't wait to catch up with you guys again.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to coming back. We were in England, obviously, for Firefest
of course.
A few years back, and loved it. One of the things that we got that really struck us when we were in Europe on that trip, here in the States, I think people are a little bit callous, a little bit jaded with their rock and roll,
right,
and their music in general. You get over to Europe, man, and it's mad dog passion. Oh my God, it's over the top. These people have such passion for rock and the scene in general. So, you know, as the five of us always, when we get a chance, you know, when we heard we were going back over this year, we were like, yes, awesome, because we love it. We love it. It's a great scene.
The music scene, the rock scene is certainly very, very healthy in Europe at the moment. I mean, certainly, as I've said in previous interviews with people, certainly the Scandinavians have helped no end in sort of giving it a much-needed kick up the backside. But there's so many great new bands and young guys as well who are getting into the scene now. I mean, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got exposed to a little bit of that at Firefest. You know, just great bands, great scene. And you know what's interesting is our genre has survived.
Yeah.
Even though we thought Nirvana came in and killed everybody, but at the end of the day, you know, the cream rises to the top. And you know, I always say that, you know, back in the day, we really couldn't afford financially to support our genres like we wanted to. But now that we're all adults and have real jobs and do things, you know, we have money in our pockets. Now we can support it a little more, and things like Monsters of Rock and Firefest and, you know, the festival that we'll be doing this summer in England and some other ones that we'll be doing over in Europe. It's just awesome, you know. Just now we can do it, you know.
Well, that's another thing about rock fans is we're pretty much a loyal bunch. I mean, we don't we're not particularly fickle. We don't just sort of jump from one artist to the next, like say people who follow pop artists or what have you. You know, we're in it for the long term.
Absolutely. You know, there's no real, you know, sure there's a flavor of the day with everything, but I think with our music and our genre, it just, you get, you know, you become a fan of a band and that's it. You're locked in for life. You
Absolutely.
Know, it's not jumping from, you know, top 10 single band to top 10 single band and boy band and artist and this, that, and the other. You know, you become that band and that music and that style, the culture becomes part of you. You know, I mean, it becomes you.
It does.
And I don't
indeed.
think that, you know, a lot of people don't understand that.
No.
I know our fans do, and the people that we rock out with do. So.
Well, of course, one thing I must bring up as well is the fact that you guys are going to have some new music out in, I believe it's October, with Revelation Highway. Obviously, the last album you did was the fantastic Live at 25, which came out, I've got to think now, is it 2 years? That must be 2 years ago as well. Blimey, how time flies. But hopefully you'll be playing some of the new material at Hair Metal Heaven.
Absolutely. I have to tell you, I am so over the top excited about this new record. So I should probably preface this by saying that we have had a lineup change.
Right.
So I guess we can kind of talk. Let's talk about that first. So
okay.
Here's where we're at. Back in the day, if some of our really diehard fans remember, we actually started off Babylon AD, or Persuaders into Babylon AD, with another guitar player, a gentleman by the name of John Matthews. Unfortunately, John left the band before we got our record out, and our first record out, and Danny Della Rosa came in, and he was awesome. Daniel did a great job with us. But unfortunately, when this new opportunity came up for us to do a new record, Danny is pursuing some of his own stuff and just didn't feel he could contribute, 100% to the Babylon project. So, coincidentally enough, John Matthews, has been, he's been in bands, he's been around the Bay Area where we're all from.
Yeah.
And we kind of reached out to him and said, hey, are you interested? And he was on board 199,000%. So that's where we're at with the lineup. We are back to the original lineup with John Matthews as, lead rhythm, awesome guitar player. And I'm going to have to tell you, Dan, this guy, I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of him. He is one of the, he's probably the best guitar player I've ever played with. I have to tell you that. So on to the record. So now we have completed recording. Now we're just in the, getting things together,
Yep.
mixing, mastering, packaging, that kind of stuff. New material with a mix of some old material that never made it to a record. But I'll tell you, this recording and the pre-production and everything involved in this process. I've been doing this a long time. I've been in studios and playing for over 35 years, and this experience was by far one of the most magical times that I've ever had in the studio.
Do you think that's because you don't feel that you're under any kind of pressure to either produce a certain time frame because a record company's breathing down your neck, and it's just, or you've got a load of old shit out the way and you can just sit back and just enjoy the whole process?
Yeah, I have to say that's probably, a really good way to describe the background vibe for this.
Right.
We all, obviously we have a new guitar player, things are exciting, new material, but, in the background, it's like, yeah, we don't have an A&R guy breathing down our neck. We don't have somebody coming in and saying, no, I don't like this part here. And they jump on a piano and have never spent a minute on stage in their life, but they jump on a piano and say, hey, play it like this. And we're like, what? No, that's not us. That's you. And you're not even that good. So, we just had the freedom. And by the way, we did this, we made this recording all ourselves. It was just the five of us with some awesome technical people that we have in the Bay Area. But basically, it was Derek sitting behind the board, me sitting in the studio and playing music, man. And it was just, it was a really amazing experience. No pressure, nobody breathing down our neck to change anything. We just kind of did what we wanted to do. We had a lot of songs to choose from. I think it was over 24, 25 songs. We trimmed it down to 10 or 11 of the very best. A really great representation. Probably a 60-40 split of some old stuff and some really, really great new stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to blow people away. It blew me away,
So some of the old stuff, is this stuff that didn't make it onto the In the Beginning album?
I'd have to go back and look at that list of songs, but I think there may be a couple of crossovers.
Right.
But I think the real thing in this is that, we've all been doing this a long time. We kind of consider ourselves like journeyman musicians. Yeah. And we're able now. I mean, we were kids back then. We were, with the little Passcam four-track recorder and, in a room with egg cartons all over the wall that dampen the sound. Now we have a lot more technology at our disposal, and we just know how to work in the studio now. So, I think that helped a lot too.
Well, like I say, I cannot wait to hear the new material. I know I'm not alone in can't wait to having you guys back over the pond as well. It's back in the day, he's one of those bands that I bought the first album on good old vinyl when it first came out. I think there was a write-up in Kerrang magazine. Of course, we're going back to days where, yes, you had to buy a whole album, and yeah, maybe you only might like one track on it. It wasn't a case of you'd sampled half the album before you bought anything. You'd take a punt on an album, and thankfully, certainly for you, that I like said album. But it was one of those bands I never thought that I'd get to see you guys until Monster Rock Cruise popped up. And but my God, you made me walk a hell of a long way on that bloody ship. Gee, I didn't realize how far it was until you. I mean, I can't remember what time you guys finished, because it was a black and white lounge. I think it's only about 1 a.m. in the morning or something. I thought, right, I'll toodle back to me cabin. Well, you know what those corridors were like on that ship. You went down one and you turned a small corner, and then there's another one, and Jesus Christ! I'm walking back to Miami at this rate.
Those things are they're like those garden bush mazes.
Yeah.
They all look. But you know what I learned on that boat, and I think that the other boat too. If you look down at the ground, the direction of the fish that were on the carpet told you where the front of the boat was.
Now you tell me.
The fish were always swimming towards the front of the boat. So that was a little trick one of the cabin guys told me. He goes, "Hey, if you ever get lost, just look for the fish."
Gee, you know, I never even thought about that. I don't know how many miles I must have walked around that bloody ship. But having said that, I say, because you went on, obviously, it was a different ship last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, they switched up cruise lines, and you know, I mean, it's expected. I think they're just trying to find a good home and good, you know, a good experience for everybody. You know, I think they were comparable. I enjoyed both very much. So I think the ship on the second one was a little smaller than the first one we were on.
I believe so.
You didn't really notice it much. You didn't really, you know.
But you see, I think it's good that they change it anyway. And obviously, there's the West Coast. There was one on the West Coast as well as the East Coast last year, and obviously different destinations. Otherwise, you know, even with different bands, it's going to get a bit samey. Otherwise, if you're doing it, you know, if you're lucky enough to do it 2 or 3 years in a row.
Absolutely. You know, and the one thing I think I would caution if I was on their advisory board, I would just caution them not to do too many in a year. Keep it special.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yeah.
I think, you know, last year and the year before, I think they ran 2 or 3 in a year. And you know, aside from the cost, you just don't want to, you want to make it that, you know, it's an event. It's an event mentality kind of thing. And I know people save up for, you know, years sometimes to go on these things. So I just hope that they don't overkill it.
I did hear rumours, and I don't know if it's true or whether it is just a rumour, that they were thinking about maybe doing one over in Europe. Certainly there is one for sort of the heavier end of the genre, because you've got the 50,000 tons of metal cruise, which is over this side. But maybe if they did one in the mid or something in the summer, that would be pretty cool, because they'd probably get you know, a whole new audience getting involved.
Oh yeah,
because the problem for us was the cost of the flights. Well, you know what it's like, you know, flight wise. I mean, it's horrendous. Even though you feel like you're sitting in the cargo hold.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think, you know, based on the many people from Europe that I met, I guarantee you, like you say, I think it would be a great, you know, I think it'd be a great thing for them to do. And you're right, they would get a whole brand new audience and a really good audience too, you know? So, I mean, I've been to festivals in Europe, and I can imagine just, you know, transferring that whole populace onto a boat. Oh my God, amazing.
Especially when you get the Swedes involved, because bloody hell can they drink.
Oh my God, the Swedes and the Germans. I mean, come on. We did Bang Your Head Festival last year, the year before, and oh my God, that thing was insane. It was insane. People camp out for like 2 weeks for this thing, and just, again, you know, we noticed too the passion that they have for their music. I mean, it's just it was incredible. It was incredible. But yeah, I think they should do a Monsters of Rock European, you know, depths of the sea, whatever they're going to call it. It would be awesome.
Yeah, Mediterranean Madness or something like that. That's what you want.
Oh wow, could you imagine? You know,
it would be. It would be phenomenal. It would be on it like a shot. I can tell you that.
Yeah. It would sell out in a minute. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I got to thank my lucky stars that this will be the 3rd year running. Is that there's a music festival now, which is literally 25 minutes from my house, and it's a big music festival. Headlining this year is Extreme and ZZ Top.
Oh wow!
I know it's a phenomenal lineup, and it's 25 minutes from the house. You know, I can't.
No.
Last year it was White Snake. Year before that it was the first year was the Scorpions, and it's like
wow.
Yeah, I have to pinch myself. I mean, we've gone all out.
I have to tell you, here in the States, even though we get our complement of awesome rock and roll, we don't get the festivals you guys get. You guys get some over the top, you know, 60, 80, 120 120, 150,000
Yeah.
people festivals that are just, you know, amazing, just legendary stuff, man.
So why do you think those festivals don't exist in the States anymore? Because you can't tell me there isn't a demand for it. Well, there was Rocklahoma, wasn't it? Which I believe the first year was a big success, and then sort of got a bit watered down from what I saw.
Yeah, you know, there's M3, there's Rocklahoma. I think there's one in every state every year.
Right.
But, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of it, you know, there's Rock and Skull up in
of course, yeah.
Chicago. You know, I know the promoter for that and the guy who arranges everything, and he just has such problems with these bands and the logistics and everything. And I don't know. I just think that it's not. I don't know. I to be quite honest, I really don't know why they don't do as, you know, M3 is legendary. Oklahoma was legendary, as you said, but it kind of, I think you're right. I think it kind of got diluted down, and I think like I said, every state kind of said, well, hey, let's do a festival, and you know, so people didn't have to travel, and then those festivals weren't so good, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of rationale behind it, but again, I think it all comes down to, you know, the passion of the fans. Because I think really, truly, a lot of the people that put on these festivals here in the States are more fans than real businessmen and promoters.
Right, gotcha.
In some cases, and so you know, it doesn't always get as big as you would hope, and sometimes they get big and fall apart because they got big.
Yeah, well, there's always that risk. I mean, thankfully, I say that the one that's local to me, which is Ramblin' Man Fair, it's almost really, what can I call it? It's a family festival because you've got families going there. I mean, when you see, you know, 4 or 5 year old kids wearing Rock t-shirts and ear defenders running around everywhere, you just think, you know, that these are the fans of the future. This is doing it absolutely right. None of this, over 18s only and all this BS.
Yeah, you know, I did notice that at Bang Your Head, which is a pretty hardcore festival. I mean, it's like, you know, Testament and just, you know, crazy, you know, hard bands.
Shouty shit.
And
yeah,
absolutely. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of kids there and young kids. I mean, not just, you know, parents with their toddlers and with earphones on and stuff, or, you know, ear protection on. There were like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds that, you know, like you said, that's our future rock generation. And I think it's in good hands. I think, you know, a lot of us have children and we kind of, you know, brought rock and roll to our kids, and some of them picked it up, some of them didn't. But I think the future is good, especially, you know, when I look at the indicators of just our genre in particular. I think we're here and we're not going anywhere. You know, we're not going to die out. And I think we have a good legacy, man. I really do.
Well, Rob, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Can't wait to catch up with you again. I say at Bank Holiday Weekend, that is kicking off on Friday, August the 25th at Heavy Metal Heaven in Hull. I say 3 days of unbelievable music. The lineup, any of you who've not seen a lineup, when you see it, I mean, your jaw is going to drop. It's just, I mean, there's a few bucket list bands on this festival. It has to be said for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've looked at the lineup and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going there. I'm going to go see these guys. I'm going to go see these guys. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. Friday night, we will be rocking it with all of our new material and our amazingly screaming awesome new guitar player, John Matthews. Definitely keep your eyes out for Revelation Highway. It's going to blow your mind. And, Dan, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your resource and your effort. You've been awesome to us, and looking forward to seeing you again, doing a little drinking. I promise not to make you walk at all. I mean, you might have to go upstairs if you want to come to the green room.
Trust me, Rob. I'm already on the VIP ticket. No, I've sorted that. Trust me.
There you go. And I'll send one of our guys up, and he'll carry you up like a baby. Hey, cheers, mate. It was awesome talking to you, and can't wait to see you again.